Yo, hey folks. Alright, so I finally tonight got to see the new anthology horror film called The ABCs of Death. And as it's captioned, it's 26 different directors, 26 different ways to die. And pretty much the backstory of this project is a guy came up with the project of getting everyone around every director around the world. So you got probably a segment in this from every piece of the world, from the newer talent in directing and horror and all that. They pretty much, the guy said, he assigned a letter to each director and gave him each director $5,000 to do their segment. And each director had free reign to do whatever they wanted to do, which kind of means that because there was a lot of free reign to do what they wanted to do, it turned out that there are a bunch of clunkers or even misses as opposed to a lot of hits. But there were some good segments in this anthology film. Regardless of the fact that there were some misses in this, it is a movie to at least be seen by once. You know, it is a movie that needs to be seen once because it needs to be seen to be believed. I would have to say that all the Asian segments were pretty much very fucked up. That's not judgment toward the Asians, but we all know the Asians, they have a very, very colorful imagination when it comes to horror, fantasy, and all that kind of stuff. My favorite segments in it, one of them was Y is for Young Buck, which was, I forget the director's name, but it's the guy who came up with Hobo with a Shotgun. And he's got a new segment in the brand new sequel to VHS, SVHS. And his segment, Young Buck, was pretty much about a pedophile. Now, I wasn't too crazy about that, but it put you into the eyes of a little kid dealing with a pedophile. But what I loved about the segment was the technicality to it. The way it was shot, the beautiful use of colors of reds, blues, greens, yellows. And most important of all, the thumping synthesizer score that went on throughout it. That pretty much told its story. Like, it just, the constantly had a thumping, synthesizer. There was no words spoken in this entire segment. It was just all actions. And it was about a boy's revenge against a pedophile. And that was probably one of my favorite segments. The next one was X is for XXL, which is by Xavier Gans, who did Frontiers and The Divide and such like that, the French director. And that one was pretty upsetting, to me, because it's about pretty much a very, very overweight woman who, on her day of coming home, is besieged by people on the subway, on her walk home, and everything about people judging her because she's so fat. And when she gets home and devours a bunch of food to fill her pain, she goes right to the bathroom, takes the knife, and she decides, you know what? I want to look like all the models and all the ads I see, so she just begins to carve off her fat with a knife, moves on to carving the fat off her face with a knife, and then steps into a shower with a electric meat slicer and just carves her entire fat off her body. And I think the message behind that was very strong, which is why I liked it, because it pretty much was talking about how society's pressures on people to look perfect, and how it can cause someone to push them to do something like this. So that was and it hit me, too, on a certain level, because, I used to be a huge weightlifter, and ever since I had been on meds and due to some, issues, I gained weight. So I knew how it was for people to judge me being once very muscular and lean and then gaining some weight. Moving on. Another one I really liked was S is for Speed. That was a really, really cool metaphorical one, and it does involve fast cars and speed, injecting speed into your system. Very good metaphorical segment. And there was a bunch of cool ones. Angela Bettis directed one. I can't remember which one she did. I don't know if it was, oh God, I don't remember, but it was a cool segment too. The ones that really, just like I said, went over my head were the Asian ones, because they're so bizarre, especially the F is for fart one. Okay, yeah, there is one called F is for fart, and that's the Asian one. What was also cool about some of the segments is that, of course, every segment is told in chronological order from the ABC, so A all the way to Z, and but you don't know what the letter stands for until the end of the segment. So while you're catching up, oh, this is L. What's L stand for? You're guessing the entire time with key clues and each frame of things representing L that could be the reason to the death or whatnot, but you never quite know what to expect. L is for libido was probably one of the weirdest Asian ones. Honestly, I think that was one of the best Asian ones. It involved pretty much two different Asian men strapped down torture style to a chair next side by side with something going on in front of them for them to jack off to. And the whole thing is that every time, and it gets increasingly weird. It goes from a woman fingering herself and then to have to jack off and spooge all of themselves, which it shows. It shows spooge flying up at them all over their body and stuff. And then it gets weirder and weirder, to like having like a paraplegic pull off her leg and start jacking off herself with the leg. And it pretty much, and it just goes on until the person who has the highest libido is strapped to a bed and chainsawed up. And I didn't quite know what the meaning behind that was, but it was very weird. But it was probably my favorite of the Asian segments. It made the most sense to me than the fart one or the, I don't know. It was, like I said, you had 26 different letters, and so there was a lot of weird segments in this movie. Like I said, seemed to be believed. But I'm glad I saw it. It was a cool anthology film, very diverse, very different, very, very ballsy, I have to add. There was some animal violence in it that was a little bit, I wasn't too crazy about that. And another thing, there was some of the directors in it, some of the directors that are the American directors they were given $5,000 of fucking money to put a segment up for the letter, and they didn't even fucking try hard, I would the two of the directors I can't think of. One of the directors behind the wraparound story, I think of VHS, Adam. I can't remember his name, but he had one. Q is for Quack. That one was just kind of, I don't know. It was not. It didn't really deliver. And then one of the disappointing ones of one of my favorite new directors in the horror genre, Ty West, did M is for Miscarriage. And that really, after I saw it, I was like, really? Really, Ty West? And no judgment to him, because, I like his films. And I even loved, as opposed to everyone thinks, I loved his segment in VHS, the second honeymoon one. However, in this, it was just like, he didn't fucking try hard. Now, maybe he was already in between a bunch of projects when he did this, so that could explain a lot. But it was just kind of like him saying, if you see the movie, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's really nothing at all. There's no punchline, there's no build-up, it's just boom, done. It's like 2 minutes long, 3 minutes long, if that, and it's just not much to it. But I'm not trying to detract people from seeing it. Like I said, I think it should be seen at least once, just to see and to be believed. Because again, this is an anthology horror film by all the new names in horror directing that came together, and you get different types of styles of directing for each one. And, like I said, each one is interesting. Even if the segment was bad, it was still interesting. It kept you guessing. It kept you going like, what the fuck, That's how I was throughout the whole movie. And after it was over, I was like, wow, that was the most bizarre shit I have seen in a long time. That's how I feel about it. That is the ABCs of death. So if you come across it, check it out. I probably will never buy it or own it. Because for me, I'm not saying it doesn't have replay value. It's just, I've already seen it, and I've seen what I had to see. But if there were segments I would rewatch over again, it would be Y is for Young Buck, X is for XXL, and S is for Speed, and a few other ones. I mean, like I said, there was some really good ones, and there were some ones that were just kind of like, But anyhow, you had every type of country representing something. So that was, that's something to be cool, to to look forward to watch about it. So anyway, very diversive, very, even dare I say, kind of controversial, and such. Each segment deals with some kind of controversial. But the directors were given free reign, like I said, with the $5,000 they were given to do their segment. And so like I said, with that said, there's clunkers, stinkers, and there's like some good shining gems out of it. Everybody will have a different opinion about it. Like I know some reviews I read, some people did not like the Young Buck one, dealing with the pedophile or whatever, but I loved it. But again, for the technicality of the short. and also the same goes for some of the other ones. But it was a good time watching it. It was a good 2 hours, whatnot. It's 2 hours and some minutes. And definitely check it out. It's on video on demand right now, movies on demand, and I believe it's about to come out on DVD, Blu-ray sometime soon. But, you know, if you've seen the ABCs of Death already, comment below, tell me what you thought of, or what segment you loved or hated, or whatnot. Anyway, but that's all I gotta say. I just had to spread the word. ABCs of Death. Peace.